Hello, I'm Ken Raggio, and I'm the author of the Daniel Prophecies, God's Plan for the Last Days. And I want to invite you to go with me to the land of the Bible, the Holy Land of Israel, this November the 10th through the 19th for the trip of a lifetime. Walk where Jesus walked and see all the holy sites where famous men and women lived in Bible days. This is going to be a blessed pilgrimage to Jerusalem, Nazareth, Bethlehem, the Sea of Galilee, and scores of the most important holy sites in Israel. I'll be making a special emphasis as we go on all the sites that relate to Bible prophecies in the last days. This is going to be a one-of-a-kind teaching tour, an exciting pilgrimage with special emphasis on the prophecies of the Bible about the last days. We're going to depart from Boston this year on November the 10th on El Al Airlines, which is Israel's own airlines and one of the safest in the world. We'll arrive at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv and meet our guide, board our luxury motor coach, and head to the Mediterranean coastal city of Caesarea, just in time for a delicious dinner at the Hadera Beach Hotel in Caesarea. We'll spend the evening at leisure on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. We'll see the ancient city of Joppa, from where the prophet Jonah sailed to Tarshish, and where Peter stayed at Simon the tanner's house when he saw the vision of the sheet let down from heaven, and where Cornelius' servants came and called Peter to come to Caesarea. We'll see the amazing place where King Herod the Great built his palace, the pool, the hippodrome at Caesarea. We'll stand in the very Roman theater exactly where the Apostle Paul testified before King Agrippa, who said to Paul, "Almost persuadest thou me to be a Christian." We'll see where Paul said, "I appeal to Caesar," and the ruins of the ancient port from which Paul sailed to Rome and eventually to his martyrdom. It's likely that the Apostle Peter baptized Cornelius and his household right there on those beaches of the Mediterranean to become the first converts of the Gentile church in the New Testament. After a good night's rest, we're going to have a fabulous breakfast and then drive up to the city of Haifa and see a gorgeous view of the Haifa harbor and the port of Haifa, where some of Israel's military submarines are stationed and where I believe the sea battles of the great and final Battle of Armageddon are most likely to begin. Then we're going to ascend to Mount Carmel to visit the very spot where the prophet Elijah called fire down from heaven in front of 850 of Queen Jezebel's false prophets. You will never forget this experience. And then we're going to go to the infamous mountain at Megiddo to see the archaeological digs where the ruins of 25 ancient cities were found, including the horse stables of King Solomon and the chariot city of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. From atop Megiddo, we'll see the expansive valley of Jezreel, where the coming great and final battle of Armageddon will begin, according to the prophecies of the Bible. I'll teach a powerful prophecy lesson there as we imagine Armageddon taking place right there in the valley below. Across the valley, we can see Mount Tabor, where Jesus was transfigured and where Moses and Elijah appeared with him as Peter, James, and John bore witness that day. Then we will visit nearby Nazareth and see Nazareth Village, which is a recreation of Nazareth as it would likely have been in Jesus' childhood days. That is a very amazing and moving experience. We'll also see the precipice, where angry men of the synagogue in Nazareth attempted to throw Jesus off the mountain cliff. And then as the sun goes down that day, we will pass through Cana of Galilee, where Jesus performed his first miracle, as we approach Tiberias and the Sea of Galilee. That is one of the most memorable moments ever that you will see, our first glimpse of Galilee. We'll stay at the historic and beautifully renovated Scott's Hotel, sitting directly on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, as we explore the entire region for the next few days around Galilee. That night we'll have another delicious dinner and afterward go for a night stroll around Tiberias. The streets of Tiberias have many interesting shops and cafes and other curiosities, and there's a boardwalk along Galilee itself, which makes for a wonderful and a memorable night stroll. After breakfast in the morning, we will go to the Mount of the Beatitudes, and we're going to see where Jesus preached his famous Sermon on the Mount. Along those shores, we'll visit a place called the Primacy of Peter, and that's where Jesus met the disciples after his resurrection, and he cooked fish on the fire, if you remember those scriptures. We'll visit Capernaum, which is the city of Jesus, and see the ancient synagogue where Jesus cast out a devil, and the ruins next door of the ancient house where Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law. We'll see Gadara, where Jesus cast devils out of the man of the Gadarenes. We'll go up into the Golan Heights and see a view across the Syrian border and a spectacular mountaintop view of the entire Galilee region. At lunchtime, we're going to go to a local Jewish kibbutz at En-Giv, and we'll eat St. Peter's fish caught right out of the Sea of Galilee the night before. This meal will be included with the tour also. We'll see, along with that, the agricultural and farming commune of the modern Jews in that kibbutz. From there, we're going to take a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee. We'll pause on the sea to have a brief devotional service in the very place where Jesus walked on the water and calmed the stormy seas. I promise you, you will never forget that. At one end of the cruise, we will dock at Gennesaret, where you're going to see an ancient boat. They call it the Jesus boat because it was dated back to Jesus' time. Maybe Jesus saw it. Maybe Jesus actually rode in that boat. Who knows? And we're going to visit an amazing new excavation at a place called Migdal, where Mary Magdalene lived. And we're going to see the ruins of an ancient synagogue and a pulpit where Jesus actually preached. That is a mind-blowing sight. We'll finish the day at the Jordan River, where you'll have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be baptized in the same river that Jesus was baptized in. And then we're going to head back to the hotel for dinner and a prophecy seminar and a night excursion in Tiberias. We're going to depart the Galilee region and head south toward Bet-Shean and Jericho, Qumran, Masada, the Dead Sea, and finally around dusk that night we'll arrive in the holy city of Jerusalem. We'll follow the highway through the Jordan Valley, past Mount Gilboa, where King Saul and Jonathan died in battle. We'll see Bet-Shean, which is one of the most amazing of all the ancient Roman cities of the Decapolis, dating from the 5th century BC. Bet-Shean is the site of the largest archaeological excavations in Israel. Then we'll drive past Jericho and we'll catch a view of Mount Temptation, where Satan tempted Jesus for 40 days. And we'll see Mount Nebo across Jordan from where Moses viewed over into the Promised Land. We'll visit Qumran, where the Essenes were. We'll see the caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were hidden and discovered. After lunch, we'll travel along the shores of the Dead Sea through En-Gedi, where David hid from King Saul, then to the mountain of Masada, and ascend by cable car to see the mountaintop palace of King Herod the Great and hear the story of the famous fortress where Jewish defenders made their last stand against Rome around 70 to 73 AD. We'll see the fascinating remains of Herod's palace there, the storehouses, the cisterns. One of the oldest synagogues in the world is there. Then we'll visit the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth, where those who want to can float without even being able to sink in the rich mineral waters of the Dead Sea. And finally, our motor coach will take us up a 4,000 feet ascent to the holy city of Jerusalem. Our first view of the holy city will be from Mount Scopus on the northeast, where we will be able to get our first spectacular evening view of the Temple Mount and the old city of Jerusalem. We'll arrive at our Jerusalem hotel, which is the Dan Panorama, which is only blocks away from the old city markets. We'll have a fabulous dinner before heading out for an exciting night excursion to see the fascinating sights nearby. In the morning after breakfast, our first breakfast in Jerusalem, we'll begin our day on the Mount of Olives with a hypnotic view of the old city walls, the Eastern Gate, the Dome of the Rock, and all the intriguing sights from the Mount of Olives. We'll walk down the Palm Sunday Road, following the very path that Jesus rode on the donkey. We will stop in the Garden of Gethsemane, have a little lecture and a brief devotional service there where Jesus prayed. We'll take time to reflect on this lovely setting. The 2,000-year-old olive trees still stand in the place where Jesus prayed. We'll also travel around the old city walls and see the tombs of Absalom and Zechariah on the way to the house of Caiaphas. We'll see a dungeon where Jesus was held the night before his crucifixion. We'll stand on the very same stone steps that Jesus walked up the side of Mount Zion. And then we'll go to visit the upper room where Jesus held the Last Supper and where the Holy Ghost fell on the day of Pentecost on the 120 disciples. If the crowds aren't too bad, we'll have a brief devotional service right there in the upper room. We'll also visit King David's tomb below the upper room. And then we'll head to the Western Wailing Wall where we can pray and leave written prayer requests even in the crevices of the wall. We'll go underground and see the rabbinical tunnels where we'll be able to see the ancient walls of Jerusalem from King Solomon's time. We'll proceed to the Pool of Bethesda through the Lion Gate and the Church of St. Anne where we can sing in a church that has a 10-second echo. We'll depart the old city through the Lion's Gate and end the day excursions at the City of David, which is the site of the newest excavations in Jerusalem. After dinner at the hotel, we'll have a prophecy class at the hotel before going out for another excursion. We'll drink the world's best hot chocolate at the Aroma Cafe just outside the old Jaffa Gate in the beautiful Mamilla Mall. If you'd like, you can shop and eat in that mall just outside the old city. And the next day we'll drive around modern Jerusalem. We're going to visit the Knesset, which is the seat of the Israeli government. The parliament is there where Israel's leaders conduct business. We're going to go to the Shrine of the Book, and we'll see the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls on display there. We'll see the amazing scale model of ancient Jerusalem from the time of Jesus Christ. After lunch, we're going to walk through the Cardo, which is the ancient street, the heart of Jerusalem. Jesus walked on those stones. We'll see the bustling heart of ancient Jerusalem and enter the old city of Jerusalem near the southern steps of the Temple Mount. We'll even tour the Temple Institute and see all the furnishings that have already been prepared for the coming third temple, including the $2 million golden temple menorah, the table of showbread, the brazen laver, the priestly robes, the high priest's ephod, the plans for the third temple, and all the other furnishings and vessels. We'll go to the Lithostratos and see the actual streets of Jerusalem where Jesus would have walked. We'll see the remains of Pilate's judgment hall and the Ecce Homo Arch. We'll walk the Via Dolorosa, which is the route where Jesus carried his cross, and pass through the fascinating old markets and bazaars. We'll eat lunch in the markets of Old Jerusalem, and then this afternoon we will visit the Garden Tomb, which is a great high point of our entire trip. We'll see Golgotha, the hill where Jesus died on the cross, and in the garden we'll celebrate communion service and we'll worship the Lord right within sight of his empty tomb, where it says, "He is risen, he is not here." This will be an emotional experience for most people, and it's a wonderful conclusion to a really memorable day. We'll head back to the hotel for dinner, take some free time to explore the nearby sites, including the King David Hotel, the Mamilla Mall, the Jaffa Gate, the Old City, the Citadel of David, and other things, many other things. Believe me, on this Holy Land tour, we're going to visit as many sites as we can squeeze into the amount of time we have while we're there. We're going to visit many of the important places in Jerusalem, and you'll have an opportunity to purchase souvenirs and bargains in the old city markets. We might visit the Citadel of David and the world-class museums there, or we may walk the ramparts of the ancient walls or spend time near the Jaffa Gate and do all the interesting things that we can find to do in that area. On the last day, we'll check out our hotel, begin our last day of amazing sights and sounds of Old Jerusalem, including a visit to the Temple Mount. We'll walk up close to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. We'll see many of the sites that a lot of people never see in Jerusalem there. We'll see the very site where Jesus Christ will return with his saints at the second coming. And then we're going to tour the old city markets and pick up some last-minute souvenirs, see as many sights as we have time before leaving for our special farewell dinner that evening. You're going to love that, I promise. After dinner, we'll depart Jerusalem for the airport in Tel Aviv, where we will board shortly after midnight for our flight back to the United States. We'll arrive back in Boston early the next morning, and I want you to know it's just impossible to list all the memorable sights and sounds and experiences that you and I are going to have on this amazing tour. I promise that you will never be the same after this trip. This really is the trip of a lifetime, and it's only $37.95 plus tips from Boston. This is a sensational price for a sensational trip. If you need to meet us in Tel Aviv from some other country, then you can purchase the land-only package for only $29.25. If you'll be traveling without a companion and you want a private room, you can pay a single supplement of $10.25. If you need a roommate, we'll do our best to match you up with a roommate so you will not have to pay the single supplement. I want you to go with me on this trip. Don't let anything keep you from this very exciting journey. Every Christian should make at least one pilgrimage to the Holy Land in his lifetime. It will change your life. You'll never be the same. To and from Israel. It includes all 4- and 5-star hotels, fabulous breakfasts and dinners, a deluxe motor coach, a professional English-speaking guide, a cruise on Galilee, and many other wonderful amenities. Early November is my very favorite time of the year to visit Israel. It's not too hot, not too cold, and we expect very little rain. If you're a pastor who wants to go, I'll be happy to make a presentation to your congregation and help start a fundraiser for you if you'd like. This will be a life-changing, ministry-changing experience. Please go to my website right now at kenraggio.com. Click on the link to the 2019 Daniel Prophecies Tour and see all the details of the trip. Then please contact me either by email or by Facebook Messenger. I will contact you with all the information you'll need to make this great trip. Be sure to contact me directly. If you're on Facebook, you can simply send me a private message on Facebook Messenger. If you're not on Facebook, please email me at ken@kenraggio.com, ken@kenraggio.com, and give me your full name, address, and phone number so I can send you the printed brochures. Please send me your name, address, phone number, and email. And you can print out the passenger application directly from my website on your computer. Or if you don't have a printer on your computer, I can send you the printed brochures and the printed applications, and you can send them in by snail mail as soon as possible. Don't miss this amazing Bible prophecy tour. We're going to depart from Boston at 9 p.m. on Sunday, November the 10th on El Al Airlines. We'll arrive in Tel Aviv, Israel at about 2 in the afternoon. We'll return to Boston on Tuesday, November the 19th, also on El Al Airlines, using one of the best tour companies anywhere. My friends Richard and Meredith Page, who own the Ed Hill Tour Company, have been to Israel literally hundreds of times. Their connections throughout Israel are more than impressive. They use only the very best guides, the best bus drivers, the best hotels, the best venues. This is going to be an exceptional and very wonderful tour, I promise. It really will be the trip of your lifetime. Contact me today. Don't miss out on this great pilgrimage to the Holy Land of the Bible. You'll find links to the entire brochure as well as a passenger application to sign up for the tour on my website at kenraggio.com. As soon as you decide to go, we'll need to send your application by mail with $500 down payment by March the 30th to Ed Hill Tours. At least $1,500 is due May the 1st, and the balance is due by September the 20th, 2019. If you don't have a passport, you should apply for one immediately. Get ready. Get packed. Let's go to Israel. I look forward to hearing from you very, very soon. Thank you.